Hi everybody, I'm Zach Malloy, and today I wanted to bring you one of my favorite chicken leg recipes. We're going to be doing some boneless chicken legs that we're stuffing with a dry aged white cheddar cheese. We're going to serve those with some seared mushrooms and finish it all off with some charred scallions. So let's dive right in. This is a boneless chicken leg, and we're going to use this as kind of an envelope for this amazing local dry aged white cheddar cheese that I've just kind of cut into batons. You can see that this is going to be kind of like the perfect little package. So what you want to do is just try and make sure that the chicken leg is kind of spread out nice and open, but you don't want it to be too far spread out so that you kind of open up that meat there. So we want to keep this all together just like this. All right? Then what we do is we just kind of slowly fold this over. And the idea is that we're just going to create this pocket to hold that cheese in. So we're kind of constantly folding in and rolling this over, okay? So what we're going to do is, I've got 2 or 3 of these toothpicks, and what we're trying to do is thread these in to seal this closed, okay? Just like that. Sometimes it's good if you can take this and fold it back through again. This is going to create this little pouch where that cheddar cheese can melt inside the chicken leg while it roasts. And goes through again. You want to make sure that it connects through the muscle and not through the skin only, because it will tear as you're moving it around. Now we want to season them on the outside. Kosher salt. And we'll do the same thing with some fresh cracked black pepper. So I've got my pan heated. This is kind of a medium-high heat. You should just see just the faintest bit of smoke that's coming up off the pan. You're going to take your oil. I like to use a canola oil or a kind of a neutral oil. And we're just carefully going to add these chicken legs to the pan. It's always important that you hear that sizzle right when this goes down into the pan. That means that your pan is hot enough. Okay, so now that we've got these chicken legs in the pan, our goal is to just get a good, nice golden crust kind of all the way around. That is going to help seal the chicken together. It's going to hold the cheese in. And then we'll be able to kind of slide our chicken off to the side, and we're going to use the same pan to sear off our mushrooms. And this is exactly what we want to have right here. Check out the color on this one. See that we're starting to develop that nice golden crust? Ooh, that's so good. Don't freak out if you start to see that cheese ooze just a little bit out the end. Because what will happen is you'll actually get that kind of like melted, toasted bit of cheese that spills onto the pan and caramelizes just like the best part of a grilled cheese sandwich. So while this is kind of on its last side, I'm going to slightly shift all this over and to create this little pocket of space. One of the reasons why I really like cooking this way in the same pan is that we've already kind of developed this little bit of a fond, like there's chicken skin and there's chicken fat and there's salt and pepper and probably a little bit of cheddar cheese that's stuck to the bottom of this pan. And instead of not using that, we're going to take this opportunity to pick up that extra flavor. So I have kind of a mix of mushrooms here. Honestly, you could use any mix. This is a mix of portobello, cremini, some hanchimeji, oysters, and bunachimeji. So I'm just going to toss these mushrooms in just on the side. And just because those guys are like little sponges, I'm just going to add just a tiny bit more oil and salt. There's a lot of folks that say that you shouldn't add salt at the beginning of cooking a mushroom, because it draws out a lot of the juice and they won't get that color. I actually want to draw out that juice so that it will actually go down and kind of caramelize in that chicken fat. So we're going to salt now. Good salt. And we'll add some pepper while we're at it. From this point here, we're going to take this. It's going to go to a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. So while we've got our chicken legs and mushrooms roasting off in the oven, we're going to go ahead and get our scallions prepped. So first things first, you'll kind of notice, this is how the scallion grows, right? These are the roots, and it grows up out of the ground like this. These top ends right here, they get a little dry, a little raggedy. So we're just going to trim that bit off. Then effectively, we're going to use this this will be our kind of raw garnish, the greens at the top. So what we do is, we always say claw first or claw later. Make sure that you're kind of holding your fingers back and away from the edge of your knife, and you're just going to slice these very thinly. You can actually notice as you move up the stalk, or down the stalk rather, that they start getting thicker, and you can start to feel a little more tension under your knife. Typically, once you get down to right about here and you start to see the colors changing, going from a deep green to more of a pale green and white, that's where you stop. So these right here, this is kind of the scallion base, and we're going to leave the roots on and everything. These are actually very tender, totally edible, and kind of wacky looking. We're going to leave those on, and we're going to set our scallion tops aside. Chicken's done. We're going to go grab it out of the oven. So as you can see, that cheese has kind of oozed out the ends, started to caramelize, make that delicious skin. We're just going to lift this up and out of the pan, and we're going to let it rest on the board just for a second here. We're going to lift these mushrooms out of the pan. We want to try and reserve, you can see this like gathered chicken fat, and that's actually some of the cheese that is broken too. That's like a cheese oil almost. And that's what we are going to cook our scallions in. So see, don't worry about getting all the extra little bits. There's still going to be some little bits that go down in there. That's okay. We're going to put this back on kind of a medium-high heat. We want to make sure that this gets nice and hot again, and we're going to add our scallions to this pan. So while the chicken's still hot and we're waiting for this to come up, we're just going to slide these picks out. We're going to let this just kind of relax a little bit. So we've got that chicken fat, we've got a little bit of oil, the kind of broken cheese. Pretty much everything that's wonderful in life is all in this pan. So now we're getting that kind of toasty cheese smell. We're going to add these scallion bottoms. Hit it with a little salt, a little pepper, and then don't touch them. Okay? So while we've got these scallions starting to blister in the pan here, we're going to go ahead and plate up the rest of our dish. I always feel like at this point, this is something that you want to cut open just so that folks can see what you've taken time to do there in the middle. Oh, beautiful. Stack those there in the center of the plate. Grab our mushrooms. You're going to take just a little bit of lemon juice, squeeze it into your very hot pan. Just like that. Cut the heat. Charred scallion across the top of this. And now we're going to finish all of this off with a little touch of green scallion tops. There it is. This is our stuffed chicken leg. We filled it with that dry, aged white cheddar cheese, some roasted mushrooms, charred scallions that we finished with some lemon juice in this hot cast iron pan, and then we finished it all off with those scallion tops. If you'd like to have this recipe or any other recipes, please feel free to visit us at springermtn.com, and thank you so much for watching.